That's not the only international news though that we have going on. How about
What else?
those Kurds?
Oh, damn. I don't even know how to talk about that because we've
Where do you even
got
start?
you've got the liberals and the neocons that are just losing their mind over this decision to pull support for the military support for the Kurds. And to some degree, like, I get it. Like, I get why you would be upset because the fear is that we're going to leave them stranded, and then Turkey's going to come in and just genocide all of them. Man, that's a real concern. But man, what can we do? Like, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place because we are actively occupying Syria. It's
Exactly.
not our goddamn country, and
Exactly.
they all want us out. You know, we're stuck in this mess because of our decision to want to get involved and carve out a piece of Syria for the Kurds. And our decision to do that is the thing. Like, we got ourselves into this mess. And so now the question is how do we get ourselves out? And here's the other problem. When I say that we're stuck between a rock and a hard place, is that the Kurds are now our allies, right? And well, Turkey is an ally of NATO, okay? And so by occupying Syria, we are actually putting ourselves at risk for armed conflict with Turkey, our NATO ally. And so the question then becomes like, what do we do there? Like, are we okay taking that risk? Because it seems to me that no matter what decision we make, people are going to die and one of our allies is going to be pissed.
Right.
And so, there are some people that are saying just back up, sidestep this, like, let's get out, and then allow Assad to deal with Turkey. But then there's the critics of that say Assad will never do that. That Assad is not going to take care of Turkey. He's not going to defend the Kurds. You know, the Kurds are screwed. Man, I don't know the answer here. I think that if we want to be talking about genocide, then we really should be talking about the genocide that's ongoing with our active involvement in Yemen.
Yemenis, dude.
I think that's a real disaster. And not to just like punt and say that you know that abandon the Kurds. I don't. Here's the problem too: is that you can't really trust Trump because Trump is always going to be lying. And,
right.
But in his recent tweets, it's like, we may be in the process of leaving Syria, but in no way have we abandoned the Kurds. He goes, but in no way have we abandoned the Kurds who are special people and wonderful fighters. Likewise, our relationship with Turkey, a NATO and trading partner, has been very good. Turkey already has a large Kurdish population and fully understands that while we only had 50 soldiers remaining in that section of Syria, I wonder if that number is accurate.
Right.
And they have been removed. Any unforced or unnecessary fighting by Turkey will be devastating to their economy and to their very fragile currency. We are helping the Kurds financially, / weapons.
Trump wrote that?
Yeah, so what he's effectively doing is threatening the Turkish government in the same way that Lindsey Graham was. Which, by the way, I effing hate Lindsey Graham. I think he's absolute garbage. But he, in a recent tweet, he goes, to the Turkish government, you do not have a green light to enter into northern Syria. There is massive bipartisan opposition in Congress, which you should see as a red line you should not cross. So, and then there's all these people saying, Lindsay, you're an idiot. You're you're a pawn. You're just going along with Trump and blah, 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 which, he is. But I'm not convinced that in this particular case, it's the wrong decision. Maybe this is a stance that we could take. If everybody was, if the America, politicians took the stance, a very hard stance on the Turkish government and said, you are supposed to be our allies. You cannot go in and just kill all the Kurds. And if you do, we're going to mess you up.
Right.
Maybe it might help, maybe it won't. I don't know. But then here's the problem:
it's a hard
let's say they do, and then we actually feel forced to actually go in. And do we want to now go to war with Turkey? No, the whole damn thing.
We already got our hands in the whole, Saudi war in Yemen, so it's like.
And we're in 7 wars right now.
I know.
Most people don't even know that. We're actively waging war in 7 countries.
It's insane.
It's been 19 years since 9/11. You've got people fighting overseas that weren't even alive when 9/11 happened.
Dude.
The whole thing is a mess, and a lot of it has to do with our continued occupation. We're the aggressors there. We're the ones that have just planted roots. And
right.
And so
we've been trying though, or some of the political party, I think the Democrats or whatever have put in the whole petition, to remove troops from Yemen, and then didn't Trump veto that? I don't remember when that was, but a couple months back or something like that.
Trump ran on ending these endless wars, which he's actually mentioned quite a bit in his tweets.
Right.
This is why I was elected. The problem with that is that he hasn't done it. Trump hasn't gotten us into any new wars. Many people like John Bolton have tried to bait him into new wars with Iran specifically. How many people just would love it if we went in there and started killing the Iranians? Oh my gosh, they would totally get off on that. And there's many people that want that to happen. And even most recently, when there was the bombing of the oil field in Saudi Arabia, everyone's like, "Oh, it was Iran! It was Iran! It was Iran! We gotta go kill the Iranians!" And here's the thing: it probably was Iran, but a lot of people are saying that the Houthis are the ones that sent the strike that hit the Saudi oil field. Even they personally took credit for it, but it was more than likely in cooperation with the Iranian government. But a lot of people are just putting the blame on Iran. And why do you think that is? Well, because why don't we want to say that it's the Houthis? Well, because then we would have to say, well, why the hell are the Houthis attacking the oil field?
Right.
Well, maybe because we're bombing the shit out of them in Yemen. We are the ones that are aggressing in Yemen. And so the Houthis are like, well, dude, I want to show you guys that we can fight back. And so they, using their missiles, hit the oil field, which is actually causes a lot of damage to the production line, is a big blow. And
even if we're not the ones doing it, we're at least distributing the bombs and weapons.
Oh, totally. We are militarily supporting the Saudis, the Saudi-led genocide in Yemen. Plain and simple. And from the Saudi standpoint, it actually looks really bad that the Houthis were able to bomb them like that. It's really embarrassing from the Saudi standpoint because they're supposed to be all big and powerful. The Houthis are this, small group of rebels, and so it's really embarrassing to them that they were able to hit them that hard. But obviously, they totally didn't put any attention on that and said, no, it's the Iranians. Go. We gotta strike back. And
right.
have you seen the list of the countries of origin of the hijackers of 9/11?
No, I haven't.
Of the 19 hijackers, 15 of them were from Saudi Arabia. 15 out of the 19.
15?
Yep. Okay.
Holy smokes.
Yet they're our ally. And this is what's bullshit, is that we went into the Middle East, but then 19 years later, we are now defending the oil field of Saudi Arabia, the country of origin of 15 of the 19 hijackers.
That's messed.
Ain't that some bullshit?
That is some real bullshit.
And so
my.
the whole thing is a cluster. Like,
and we got our John Bolton, aka Lord Bolton from Game of Thrones, over here.
I hate that guy so much. I'm so glad he's out, but of course, every single time he gets in the news and he pushes his neocon agenda. And
I know,
and then
dude.
you got Megs on the damn View, talking about all these people just never seen a war that they didn't love. And none of them would ever fight in the war, and none of them have children that would fight in this war. So they're all just a bunch of damn chicken hawks.
Chicken hawks.
That's literally the term for it. It's a kind of a term that they use for people that are pro-military, but won't actually fight in the war themselves. And that's the thing, is it's really to be pro-war when you're not the one actually fighting it and risking your own life. And none of the countries that we have attempted to intervene in are better off. None of them.
Right.
And so at what point can we say, oh, well, our objectives were met? What does winning look like? I've asked a few people this on Twitter, because people are so opposed to pulling troops. And I'm like, well, what would it take? How many more years? 19 more years? What does winning look like to you?
Exactly.
What does winning look like? What's the objective? What would be a measure of success that we could have that then we say, okay, we met our goal? The truth is we'll never hit our goal.
No.
They want to completely destabilize all the countries in the Middle East, and they want to further extend the Imperial America. Its rule across the globe. But there are, and they call this shit being forward deployed. Have you heard that term before?
It's like being aggressive, or you have to be ahead of the game or something.
Yeah, the idea is that we need to have our troops up in their faces. We need to be forward deployed, so that way, if any strike were to occur, we could immediately retaliate.
Right.
By being forward deployed, we have we're kind of keeping it at bay. We're not creating a power vacuum that then would allow more terrorists to unite and then become this much larger force. But it's straight Orwellian shit. That is straight out of Orwell, where it's double speak, where you say one thing and it means kind of another, because being forward deployed really means occupation. We're occupying these countries. And so we set up shop in these countries, and kind of our position is oh, well, you put your country in our military base.
Right.
It's and so any little thing that happens over there, they look at it as an attack on us, and then we retaliate. And dude, it's a complete disaster. Complete disaster. Imagine if some country just decided to set up shop right off the shore of
Nah, man, it doesn't fly.
It just wouldn't happen. But
No.
like, it's totally okay because it's American, you know. and
Dude, it's a cluster.
I'm tired of all these endless wars. I want them all to end. And by pulling all of our troops and pulling military support, yeah, people will die. But guess what? Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people have already died because of our involvement over there. And thousands more will continue to die the more we stay there. So it's like,
Right.
you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
If you don't, exactly. Ugh. Sick, man. It's brutal.
So,
Well. Oh man, dude.
I know.
It's rough to know which, like what's happened, like what's true and what's actually happening, and also just to remember, like just figure out what's happening.
I say get our asses out of there.
Yeah.
And I think that the liberals in particular need to go back to being just the party of labor and anti-war. It's crazy that they have had to defend all these endless wars. I mean, I remember a time in my lifetime when it was all the liberals that were saying, we need to end the war in Iraq and that we need to get out, like end this war. And now in 2019, it's endless wars.
Endless wars. Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy to me. Like, they need to realize that we can't be supporting all these wars, and that if the liberals went back to being the party of anti-war and pro-labor specifically, then that would be better for this country. But what they are is that they've aligned themselves with bankers, with universities, with Wall Street, and a fraction of them in there are neocons. They're very pro-war, like Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Holy shit, is she pro-war? Like, man, she used her positions to enrich herself. It's sick, man. It's not popular to be anti-war. Look what's happening with Tulsi Gabbard. Just completely silenced, not even given a platform.
Exactly.
You say anything against the wars, and it's like, what do you want to make out with Assad? You want to butt F Putin? You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God. Like, can't we be pro-America and anti-war? Is that not a thing anymore?
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
Even this recording right now of us talking about it.
Oh, I guarantee that this video...
Uncle Sam's going to put his thumb on your...
Not only will I probably go on some CIA list, but that Google won't ever promote stuff like this. It'll pick up on like the keywords that you're saying, and it will completely... for people that actually make money, they'll get demonetized, but then people that are trying to get messages out there will just get silenced.
Exactly.
It is what it is, dude. Like, this is the world that we're living in this techno oligarchy where everything is run by the military industrial complex. It's like it's real depressing.